あんたは果たして滅びずにいられるのかな。あんたは果たして滅びずにいられるのかな。
So, I already know what you're gonna say. You're gonna be like, why is there a Roblox JoJo game in my feed from Eclipse that isn't YBA? And the answer is, well, this one's good. So, there you have it. For those curious, this is Troublesome Battlegrounds. It's a much more arena fighter competitive focused game compared to YBA, considering there aren't any special skill trees or anything like that, and there's actual combos in the game that aren't like Omega Jank. Basically what I'm trying to say is if you haven't already tried this game and you enjoy competitive YBA, this is probably just a better version of that, and I highly recommend you give it a shot if you haven't already. And if you're not a competitive player, the main base game of this game is a mosh pit of game modes, basically the exact thing I was talking about in one of my previous videos about how to make YBA more fun to play. So in other words, it's a win-win no matter what if you're a competitive or a casual player. But enough shilling about Troublesome Battlegrounds. Let's actually talk about exactly what I'll be doing with this series when it comes to this game. I feel like character reviews for Troublesome Battlegrounds is something I definitely want to do, considering just how much fun I've been having with this game. The skill ceiling for it is pretty crazy, and I've been getting better, but I'm still not even close to as good at this game as I am at YBA, and I'm not even all that great at YBA. People are very good at this game, and it blows my mind. But even despite my lack of skills, I feel like I've got enough knowledge at this point to put out a video like this, and especially since I've played Giorno, the character in question, so much, I really think I've pretty much learned all I need to learn about it. And if I don't, and there are people who know more or have information that's pertinent to the conversation, I highly recommend you put it in the comments. I also want to say that the series, when it comes to character reviews for this game, will likely differ quite a bit from YBA, because each character has, well, most characters have their own bread and butter combos, which I'll be referring to as B&Bs from here on out, so hopefully you'll understand what the hell I'm talking about. So I'll cover that, but since each character for the most part has the same amount of skills, I feel like what'll end up happening is when I get to talking about the moveset, I'll end up talking about everything about the character. So I don't know if I'm going to be breaking it up into moveset and strategies this time around. I honestly might just mix the two together because I don't think it's possible to talk about one without also talking about the other. So this first one might be a little bit poorly structured, but I'm going to do my best. Anyways, with all the introduction stuff out of the way, I'm going to do just that and start with talking about all of Giorno's moves with his moveset. Alrighty, Giorno's moveset. Giorno's default M1 punches is a 5-hit combo of 3 damage hits. Something to note about Giorno's punches is that they're stand punches. You have an extreme advantage by having a stand in this game. Your stand punches have more range and are disjointed. What disjointed means is that you have an active hitbox, but your hurt box is not attached to that hitbox. In other words, you can do damage, but you don't take damage. Giorno's 1 is a simple barrage that does 0.3 damage per hit. His 2 is Life Shot Punch, which deals 13 damage, stuns, and is a really good combo extender. His 3 is Life Creation, which has 2 uses. If you tap it, Giorno shoots himself into the air on a tree, and if anyone attacks the tree, their damage is reflected back at them. And if you hold it down, you'll place down a snake, which deals 5 damage per hit. This snake has 2 charges on it, and depending on how long you charge it is how long the snake lasts. Just something to note about the snake is that it can't jump, so oftentimes it gets stuck on really minimal areas of the terrain. Your 4, which for some reason I completely forgot to use, heals you for... fuck if I know how much health. I gotta go look now. Your 4, through a lengthy animation, heals you for 25 health and has 3 uses, which are displayed at the bottom right of your screen at all times. And your 5 is Fire Mista, which summons Mista in front of you, firing bullets that have a very small hitbox, deal 10 damage if you land it, and have a short stun attached to it. Now we also have to take note that Giorno has access to an Awakening. This Awakening bar at the top fills as you do damage, and when it's completely full, you can press X to gain access to Gold Experience Requiem.
これがレクイエムだ。
Gold Experience Requiem is a very, very strong and, in my opinion, underrated awakening, but I'll talk about that later. Your barrage is bumped up to doing 0.45 damage a hit compared to the 0.3 it did before. Your life shot punch now completely ignores blocks and is bumped up from 13 damage to 20 damage. Your life creation is replaced with Pebble Flick, a hit scan projectile that comes out directly in front of you and does 15 damage. Your Broach Healing is replaced by Return to Zero, which is a move that you can use at any point, any time, no matter what, whether you're time stopped, stunned, regardless, which jumps you into the air and heals you for 20 health. And your 5 is replaced with the 7-page Muda Beatdown, which is a grab that does a ton of damage. And with that, I've covered all of Gold Experience and Gold Experience Requiem's moves, or I guess Giorno and Awakened Giorno. I'm never gonna get used to saying stuff like that when I play this game. Anyways, I resisted the temptation to talk about strategies, so let's get to that right now. Alright, so I can finally talk about this character without the restrictions of the moveset section. First things first, we're going to talk about BNBs, and then I'll probably talk about how you should be using each move if you don't already know. Giorno's most default BNB, that's a true combo no matter what, is 4 click punches, a life shot punch, another 4 click punches, and a barrage. This is a tried and true combo that is just about impossible to screw up. So if you're struggling with Giorno, if you do this, you get more than half of their health gone right away, and it takes basically 0 effort to pull off. Now, if you've already got that on lock and you want to get more technical, you can mix in Mista shots in order to get an extra 10 damage. If you use them right after your life punch, as far as I'm aware, it is a true combo. It should be noted though that your enemy can move during the life shot punch, albeit very slowly. So if they're moving from left to right, you'll have to aim the Mista shots correctly since their hitbox is so small so that you actually land them. Otherwise you're just losing on a bunch of damage for what is all intents and purposes just another 10 damage. As for your BNBs, when you attain Requiem, the classics still apply. If you do 4 punches, a life shot punch, and then 4 more punches and a barrage, it's still true, and it does obviously quite a bit more damage than you would in base. If you have your Muda Beatdown available, you can do 4 punches, a life shot punch, 4 more punches, and a Muda Beatdown, which is also a true combo and does a ridiculous amount of damage. It should also be noted that you technically can do 4 punches, a Pebble Flick, a life shot punch, 4 more punches, and either a barrage or a Muda Beatdown. This is not a true combo because they can act after the Pebble Flick, but assuming that the character you're going up against doesn't have a counter, there's still nothing they can do, as if they block, they'll get hit by the life punch anyway since it ignores block, and if they dash out, once again, because of how hitboxes work in this game, they'll get hit anyway even if they dash, so you can just walk over to wherever they dash to and continue the combo. Now the question on everyone's mind is how exactly did I do the one-shot kill in the beginning of the video? And that's what we're going to talk about right now. The one-shot combo I used at the beginning isn't even necessary, but if you are curious to try it out, it's 4 punches, a Pebble Flick, a life shot punch, 4 more punches, a beatdown, and then 1 more Pebble Flick. The reason I say it's not necessary is that technically there is a true combo for a one-hit kill. For whatever reason, the life shot punch and the Requiem version of the life shot punch do 0 damage in training mode. I have no idea why this is, but it confused the hell out of me and it made me lab out a non-true one-hit combo, which eventually led me to the real one-hit combo. But regardless, what the real one-hit combo is that you completely cut out the Pebble Flick at the start. All you need to do to one-shot somebody is 4 punches, a life shot punch, 4 punches, a beatdown, and then another Pebble Flick. Now, how exactly am I doing the Pebble Flick at the end of the beatdown? Well, for some reason, right at the end of the beatdown, you're able to move for a little bit before you can really control your camera of your character. A lot of the time when you come out of the beatdown, your character is on this weird diagonal and to the right state. So in order to land your pebble flick the vast majority of the time, you need to hold left, and then when you see your character start moving, very shortly after, you use the pebble flick and it will instantly kill them. There are instances where you can just spam the pebble flick out of the beatdown and they'll get clipped by the beginning of the move, but it's not very consistent, so I recommend the holding left method. On the topic of being able to move right at the end of the beatdown, if you do land a beatdown without doing the true one-shot combo and the pebble flick isn't going to finish your opponent, you can mash dashing forwards and try to catch them with a combo right as they get out of the beatdown, which just about nobody is ready for and will almost certainly guarantee you the rest of the kill. In other words, if you know what you're doing and you land a beatdown, your opponent should die, no matter what. I know I just spent a whole lot of time talking about beatdown, but now I'm actually going to go all the way back and talk about your other moves in the base form before I even start talking about Requiem, despite the fact that I just sat here and talked about Requiem. I'm good at making guides. The barrage I don't even think I have to talk about, but the life shot punch I will talk about. Life shot punch is a very, very strong move. The only thing that holds it back is the fact that it can be blocked. Life shot punch is, in my opinion, one of the strongest moves in 2v2s, because not only does it knock your opponents off your teammates if they're getting comboed, but it also stuns them for a long ass time, meaning that your teammate can then combo them for being comboed. It's a really stupid move, and if your teammate knows what they're doing, then they can capitalize big time on them making a mistake. The thing about Life Shot Punch is that it completely cancels almost every single move in the game if you land it. So you cancel their moves, you stun them, and you hand a combo to your teammate. It's really, really good. Now when it comes to life creation, this move feels like it's pretty hit or miss. I would say almost never make the snake. The snake is really funny. I really enjoy using it, but the move itself is not very good. The vast majority of the time, if you go to use this, the second you start charging it, you're gonna get punished before you even get the move off. And even if you do get it out, it's extremely easy to avoid, as you just go up on any sort of incline. Even the curb on Morio's streets blocks this thing. I think the snake needs an AI buff or the ability to jump or something, because right now, it's way too easy to avoid. The tree, on the other hand, is a very good move that is held back by what I think is a bug. The tree you can use to basically screw your opponent over for using any sort of move that has any semblance of startup. You basically punish your opponent for landing their moves, which is always fun. The problem with the tree, though, is that if you mash it out of hit stun, which is how I feel like you're supposed to use it, a lot of the time it will just get eaten and nothing happens. I have no clue why this happens, but it makes using the move really difficult, because if you try to use it as a combo breaking tool, it just doesn't work. It just goes on cooldown and then you get nothing out of it. Now onto your brooch healing. This is an extremely situational ability, but it's also very, very good in both 1v1s and 2v2s. In 1v1s, after you take your opponent's stock, you should almost always use brooch healing. There's basically no reason not to, and it gives you a free 25 HP. Just do it. Now as for 2v2s, when you can use it is situational, but your teammates or your enemies can often make openings for you to use this. If multiple people get time stopped, you tend to be able to use it, and if you just killed both of the enemy teammates, then you can use it as well. The only gripe I have with using it in 2v2s is that a lot of the time, if you do use it and your teammate's alive, they can get team comboed and just die, and because of your healing, you can outlive your teammate a lot of the time. But in this game, for whatever reason, you can't share your lives in 2v2s. So even if you stock tank and have 3 stocks and your teammate has 0, you just get 2v1 3 times in a row and lose by default, even if the life count is technically equal. I hope that someday they add life sharing, but I don't know if that's even possible. If it is, I'd love to see it, because I think it would make 2v2s a much more interesting mode. But now I'm not talking about the character, I'm talking about game mode. So we'll move on to Fire Mista. I don't think there's much to say about Fire Mista, honestly. You should basically never use it unless you're trying to get a combo, break your teammate out of a combo in 2v2s. because throwing it out has quite a bit of lag on it, and the hitbox is so small that odds are you're not going to hit your opponent anyway. As for your Requiem moves, I think I pretty much talked about all of these. You should always fish for the one-shot combo, because why wouldn't you? Return to 0 whenever you start getting comboed in order to avoid the enemy's moves. Fun little tip about return to 0, if you know the enemy is going to try to use some sort of combo extending move, wait a little bit after their 4th punch so that they actually use the move, and right before they use it, use your return to 0 so that you don't get hit and they throw their move down the drain. It's a double win for you. That, and sometimes you're just better off taking combos depending on who your opponent or opponents are. If you're fighting against a Dio, it's probably not a super great idea to use your return to 0 just to heal or in order to get out of a combo, because if you do, then you're liable to get time stopped. Other than that, I honestly think I'm pretty much wrapping up with the strategies section. So we'll jump into the conclusion, I'll talk about the character, and we'll be done here. I honestly feel like Giorno is one of the most underrated characters in the entire game. I feel like it's one of the least played characters. I see almost nobody playing Giorno, and I can't really for the life of me figure out why. He's really good. I don't get it. I guess it probably comes down to there are a lot easier characters to play, but Giorno's nothing to laugh at. I honestly think when I go into 1v1s and 2v2s that people underestimate me heavily while I'm playing. They just assume, oh, he's playing Giorno, he must be a noob. It really is quite a shame, because this character can be a complete powerhouse. I'm also not sure how many people know that he has a straight up one-shot kill true combo, but I don't know how much that would play into getting people to use this character. I know that the one thing that Giorno struggles with heavily is definitely blocking. His base form only has one block breaking move, and that's Fire Mista, which is stupid easy to avoid. So there are going to be a lot of people that are just like, well, if you just hold F against Giorno, you win. And if you hold F, you can't use attacks. So sure, if you play really passively, you'll do better against this character. But I don't really think that the quote-unquote just hold F excuse works for any of the characters, because if you get whiff punished for using one of your moves, you can't be blocking. So as long as the Giorno player knows what they're doing, they can circumvent this. And I know what a lot of people are going to tell me in the comments. They're going to tell me, well, sure, Giorno may be a little bit underrated, but you could just pick a better character and do better. And I would agree with you, you're probably right. But Giorno, for what he is a lot of fun. And I don't think the one-shot kill is anything to laugh at. Losing your entire stock to a true combo that removes your whole health bar in one shot, as far as I'm aware, is completely exclusive to Giorno. I could be wrong, but I don't think there are any other awakenings in the entire game that have a true combo that kills you from full health to 0. But whatever, I don't think there's anything I could say in this video to change the minds of the people who have already decided that Giorno is shit and they're never gonna play him. But if you haven't given Giorno a shot, I highly recommend you do so, as he's a ton of fun to play. It's just really satisfying to land all his moves, and there's nothing better than being a stock down, popping Requiem, hitting the one-shot combo, and evening up the game, or winning it just off of that. For all intents and purposes, you can use the Muda beatdown twice in one awakening, so you could technically one-shot someone twice if you manage to get the combo 2 times. Obviously easier said than done, considering that you have to land all of the moves in succession, but it is possible. But with all that being said, I think I'm just about wrapping up here, and this video has gone on for way longer than I thought it ever would, considering there's, well, way less things to talk about here, or at least I thought there were, when compared to my YBA reviews. So I hope you liked it, even if it wasn't YBA, and if you somehow got this far and you haven't already played Troublesome Battlegrounds, you need to give this game a go. It's very, very fun. With that, I'm done though, so have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you next time.
あんたは果たして滅びずにいられるのかな。